Hello YouTube, this is Hunter Surge. We have some new cards to go over. Let's go over them. There's nothing real too exciting this week. We don't even have any cards from Cards of the Day. It's just like the stream stuff. So let's get into it. All right, so today is we have Clarissa cards and we have Sagita cards. Absolute Zero. So Absolute Zero is a deck that needs a lot of help because Absolute Zero was initially printed before the Kings came out, which was a huge increase in the power level of the game. Um, and then Bavsarker came out after that, which was another pretty major increase in power level. Um, and the deck was underpowered when it came out. So it needs a lot of help. It was only a 4-attack deck too, which is not the greatest. So let's see what we can do here. So Pryke is its neutral rare. When it's placed on rare and you have Vanguard with absolute 0 in its card name, you sold last one and search your deck and discard one card from your deck. And then shuffle your deck. And then if you have a greater Vanguard, during this turn, this unit gets power plus 5k. So Absolute Zero's whole gimmick is that as a Vanguard, with the effect that for both players, when they make an attack that is the 4th battle or more, they have to discard a card or the attack is cancelled. That includes themselves. However, to mitigate this, they have a whole gimmick of, they have a bunch of cards with discard effects. Those discard effects aren't good. Let me read off what the discard effects are for you. One of them is put into soul. One of them is give one of your rears plus 5k. Third is energy charge 1. And that's it. Those are all the discard effects. So like it makes kind of sense to go for something like this because this can trigger those effects. As far this can no, it's only when discard from hand. Why does it specifically use that terminology? That's weird. So it's not even leaning into that stuff. It's actually not even leaning into that stuff. It's just going, you can set up a specific card in your drop zone. Which I guess would be the card the Arca, which can call itself from drop when your grade 3 Vanguard attacks if you don't have a card with the same name as it. So like you can't even trigger those effects. Oh, it's weird. Like, it could have been, like, add to hand and then discard it. But they didn't do that. It didn't even trigger the bad effects. Like, that's weird. It's weird. Weird card. And then, it has a second effect, which is when this unit or your other unit with Judge Main is retired from Rearguard Circle, you put this card into Soul and draw a card. So obviously the ideal way to use this is is for this to be the retired thing. And like the deck doesn't actually do this. Because it gets its 4th attack by calling a new unit from drop. So you just call it on top of this and you trigger it. And then it also has counterblast 1. For this turn, all your units in the front row get power plus 5k. So that power buff is going to apply to 3 of your 4 attacks. Fortunately, because this is going to happen during the Vanguard's attack. So that's pretty nice. Not terrible. Not a terrible card. Just set up your multi-attacker and synergizes pretty well with your multi-attacker. But it's not super great. It's not the level of like really good support this deck really needs. Then the other Absolute Zero card we have is down here. Heart Dances with Light, Judge Maiden Lucille. So this is if you have a greater Absolute Zero Vanguard, and this is in your drop, you can bind it. During this turn, if you have if this is the 4th battle this turn, your Vanguard loses its continuous ability, so you don't have to discard when you're attacking with your 4th attack. Or you can choose one of your units with Absolute Zero or Judge Maiden in its card name. During this turn, the next time you pay for its ability cost, discard one less card from hand. So you also have some rear guards that have discard costs. Notably the ride line, if I recall correctly. Yeah, the ride line, each piece of the ride line, if I recall correctly, has an effect that activates by discard card if you have them on the rear. So the grade one is an act to discard a card and give your front row rears plus 5k power for the turn. And the grade two is, oh no, the grade two doesn't discard for its effect. It's just end of battle, retire itself to draw a card. So you can also use this to turn to make the power buff from the grade one piece of the ride line free, which is neat. But I feel really weird about this support because it feels like this, instead of like leaning into like the gimmick that the deck already had and making that really good, it this card in particular feels like it's trying to get you to ignore that gimmick. And I don't really know how I feel about that. This is another like decent target for the new grade 2 to ditch, which is something, but also doesn't do anything on rear. So it's kind of awkward in that way. And you do in fact like it also makes it like a card you really want to discard, but the new this card's own effect is trying to move you away from doing the discards. It's just very strange and very conflicting support. Like we are still making cards that want to be discarded, but we're not making better like effects that trigger from being discarded. And we're also making effects that turn off the stuff that causes you to discard. I don't know, man. This is very strange support. I'm not a huge fan of what they're doing with this, and it's very clearly nowhere near enough to get this deck to even a somewhat viable position. Yeah. Then we have the Earnescorrect support. So we have still rare, double rare, and rare. Okay. So two double rares. We have all three of them have the Earnescorrect name, which is very good to see. So they can contribute to the requirements of your order and stuff. So this first double rare is a grade 2. When it's this card from hand and you have a Vanguard with clear sense the name, you can energy blast 3 and draw a card. So it's a gun cycler. It's a pseudo gun cycler, like which is very, very nice. Just have an archetype, especially in an archetype that needs its names really badly. Then in drop, at the end of your turn, if you have a grade 3 or greater Clarissa Vanguard, if your Vanguard's attack hit during this turn, you're going to be attacking into rear, so you're always going to hit at least something. And you can bind it and choose one of your rears and bounce it back to your hand. That's pretty good. That's a pretty nice effect to have. Now it doesn't do anything on field, which is kind of weird, despite having the Earnescorrect name, but that's fine. That is fine. It still makes it like a target for the ride line and stuff like that. Then we have a grade 1 double rare, Todine in the drop when your grade 3 or greater Closer Vanguard is placed and you do not have a unit with the same name as this, you can call it to rear and then Soul Blast 1. The next time you pay the cost for any card with Earnescorrect in its card name, you reduce this Counter Blast cost by 1. That's very, very good. Like a maple that is like a free maple, like Maple herself, that has an optional cost to then reduce counterblast cost is incredible. And then when attacks or boosts, you give it power plus 2k for the battle. If you do, retire at the end of the battle, so it's back and drop for you to revive it again next turn and get the counterblast reduction again. That card is very, very good. Very high quality card. And then grade 2 single rare act. If you have a grade 3 or greater Clarissa Vanguard, you can retire this unit. Do one of the following. You either get an Earnescorrect normal unit with a different card name from your drop and call it to rear, or you add back the order, aim to be strongest idol from your drop to your hand. So that also seems pretty solid for consistency purposes. These cards seem pretty solid overall. Probably nowhere near enough to get Clarissa in contention, but like these feel like better support than the Sakita support cards do. Yeah. Uh, Man, the Sakita support cards are very strange support. And then let's just talk about the cards of the day real quick. It's really nothing. There's a new Perfect Guard in the set, as you would expect in a lyrical set. Almost always happens. I think this is a mermaid. Yeah, this is a mermaid. Which might matter for something at some point. I don't actually. I'm gonna check that real quick. Okay, no, we already had a mermaid perfect guard because like we had an encounter perfect guard from the last lyrical set, and that would naturally also be mermaid because every Bermuda Triangle card was a mermaid. Um and also the recent card we got that looks top 7 for mermaid to add to your hand has the can't add a sentinel exception, which is stupid and I hate it, but it is what it is. Um, yeah. Okay. So then we have a grade 1 common that on Rear Guardian, if you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard and you play an order this turn, this card gets power plus 5k, shield plus 5k. This card sucks ass. Like, you have to play an order that turn, which means to even get the shield effect, you have to play the Blitz that turn. Like, and it's not live until you're on grade 3. That's awful. That's so bad. Not a good batch of reveals we're going over today. Not fantastic. But it is what it is. Next Tuesday will be the other new ride line we're getting this set, the Rise Splice ride line. I don't believe we have any clues about what this deck even does. Yeah, there's literally no information on what this deck does. Like with Sweet Thinker, we were told ahead of time, hey, it's gonna do heal stuff. We have no clue what Rise Splice is doing. So we'll just have to see. And I'll see you guys then. So this is Hunter Surge signing off.